All right, guys, we're back. Treadmill Talks. It's been a while. It's been a rough 10 days babysitting my cat. She's finally getting better. I'm finally back on the treadmill. Dude, I'll tell you, it's amazing how much your body can deteriorate from just 1 week of not exercising and just not moving, frankly. Like our human bodies were not meant to not move, okay? Anyway, for today's topic, I want to talk about what is a functional marriage. Actually, what's a successful marriage? Which ones are successful? How do you know if yours is going to be successful? And let's define success too. That's another big one, right? So, and what spurred this conversation was I was at a dodgeball tournament over the weekend, and I saw one of my old buddies that I used to play with like 10 years ago, and he got married and he had kids, and we've just been catching up. And whenever I catch up with an old friend that I haven't seen for a while, and they have a family and they're married and stuff, I like to prod, right? I like to get in there and find out what. Because on the surface, it looks like they're successful, but let's dive in. All right, guys, hit the subscribe button. We're back to doing this full time. If you like this content, share it around. Let's grow this channel to 1,000 subscribers. Let's make it happen. I feel like I've got a unique insight on these topics. So if you appreciate it, make sure you subscribe. Okay, marriage. Now, I've noticed a pattern in my personal life. So let's start with, if you go on like your Facebook page, this is for kind of like us older guys, not older, like millennial guys. You go on your Facebook page and you see like all your old high school friends. And then now that we're like approaching our 40s, right? You see like a line in the sand between the people that didn't get married and the people that did get married, right? And the people that had families. Now, and funny enough, this is the craziest thing. When you actually reunite with these old friends on both sides of the fence, they always wish they had the other side of the fence. I guess that's human nature, right? I got buddies of mine that got married and have kids. They have families. And their kids are almost like 10 years old now. Like it's like, what? Right? Like their kids are like, I can like have conversations with them. It's so weird, right? But then they see my lifestyle. I'm free. I can travel. I can date whoever I want. To them, they have so much FOMO about my lifestyle. But then I see their lifestyle. I'm like, bro, you have a beautiful wife and family. What the hell, right? You've got it, right? So what I want to say there is, no matter which situation you're in, neither one is right or wrong. And I think it's okay to feel those feelings of not FOMO, but like envy towards the other side of the fence, right? That's totally normal. And no matter which one you're in, it's okay. Because the other side is feeling the same thing about your situation too, right? So anyway, now, I have been married before, and I would call it a semi-successful marriage. And I'll explain why. And we'll get back to my buddy that I was talking about at the dodgeball tournament. So, in the past, people used to get married for like survival reasons. Basically, marriage used to be strictly for survival. And not just survival of the two pairs of people. It used to be for survival of both families, right? Share land, share skill sets. Like we're joining the two families kind of thing, right? It was all very logical and practical. Actually, I'm watching this show with my girl right now called the Bridgerton or something like that on Netflix. and it's from like the 1800s. And when a woman gets selected by a man, it's up to the father to pay the man a dowry. So like, there used to be, like back in those days, you used to have to like incentivize a man with financial gain to marry a woman, right? To like commit to her and all that shit. It was very different back then. But the larger the dowry, the more the survival, right? Because basically what their goal was, the father is basically saying, I want to offload. It's kind of like cruel when you think about it, but it's like, my daughter is like a problem, and I want to offload her to a man, therefore I must pay the man for her survival. He's doing it for her benefit, because a woman that's a spinster in those days, like in their 30s, not married, they basically have to become like maids or whores, right? So you have to get them married off for their own benefit. Again, survival. Anyway, so what I've noticed, and then you fast forward to 2026, right? What I've noticed is all the people that I talk to that have been married for, let's say, 7 or more years, because I don't know that many friends that have been married for longer than that, right? I'm not that old yet. But let's say 7 or more years. First of all, the first thing you notice is they age way faster than single folk. That's just like a random aside I've noticed. Like, bro, these people that are married, I guess it must be stress or whatnot, but holy shit, they seem like they're aging twice as fast as single folk. I'm not sure if that's like an evolutionary thing where like us single people have to stay younger to procreate, and the ones that have procreated are just like, the gene pool doesn't need you anymore, right? It could be something like that, right? Who knows? But anyway, what I've noticed about those couples is they got together for some kind of survival mechanism, and they are not aware of it. Let me say that in a different way. Most people, like, so imagine you're like an 18-year-old kid or a 20-year-old kid. You're just kind of horny, but if you think about it, you're not really sure why you're dating. You're really just thinking, if I'm in a relationship with a girl, I get regular access to sex. That's kind of how far the man's brain goes with it, right? Now, women think very differently, where they're like, I need this man to get his shit together in the future for my survival, right? That's the angle but that's, when you're that young, she's not thinking about that at that moment. She's just having fun. But it's always kind of there in the back of their mind, right? It's more like, you need her for sex. She needs you for a potential future partner. There's still kind of this need between the two, right? Now, as you approach your 30s, when people start settling down and getting married, what I've noticed is both people or both marriage partners, you can like clearly tell which each one of them is offering. Like it's odd. Go look at your friends group and look at it yourself. You're like, that girl is way too hot for that guy. And like, he's like boring. Then you find out he's an engineer. Oh shit, oh I see, okay, right? And then you see the other way around too, where like, that guy is way too good looking for that girl. But then you find out she's just a really sweet girl and she's fun to be around, right? And then you're like, I see. Here's the most common one though. especially I could have biased information because I live in Vancouver, BC, and it's like number 4 or number 5 on like one of the most expensive cities to live on the planet. So I'm sure there is a bias there, but the main reason why people couple up in Vancouver is to split the bills. Let's be real. It's a survival mechanism, right? Funny enough, these ones are actually the most true to the original intent of marriage, if you think about it. And funny enough, these also seem to be the ones that last the longest. Now, notice how I didn't say they are the most successful or happy. I guess the definition of success, our definition of success in this kind of video or context, I guess would be length of time as a couple, right? Not necessarily happy together as a couple. That's a that's a topic for another video. The definition for now is length of time, right? Length of time being 2 people splitting the bills, and they are together for financial gain in order to survive the economy easier together, right? And then you notice how, have you ever noticed that, like, not to use like derogatory terms, but like all the people having families and kids are like the trailer park people. Do you know what I'm saying? Have you ever noticed, like, you go to like Walmart and shit, and it's like, and then you're like, dude, you go to Walmart and you're like, why? How? Like, how did he even get that dick in there? And then you're like, what's wrong? Like, what am I doing wrong that all these people, if you want to call them that, are the ones having families? And it's exactly why I just said, because they're basically together out of necessity. They're together out of survival. Therefore, they need the kids for survival. They need the extra income from the government for the kids. They need the extra labor for the kids. Farming life, same kind of thing, right? You have large families for survival. Now, having a marriage or family for survival purposes, so we'll put these relationships, or we'll like categorize them as like layer 1 or like the base layer, right? The absolute, arguably worst reason for people to pair up. Also, coincidentally, the reason why the most successful, or I should say long-lasting marriages last together, right? Now, I would say that's kind of the paradigm that my buddy is in, because he lives in Vancouver, right? So him and his wife kind of got together way back when as a means of survival, right? And they have a family together and shit. Now, when I asked him, the problem is whenever you ask these people, are you happy? It's like they have to say yes, because like, what would the alternative answer be? It's like, no, I'm not. No one's gonna admit that shit, right? You have to kind of ask questions to prod. Like, what do you do for fun? Do the kids consume all your time? What's your guys' goal in 5 years? You ask them these types of questions to see if they're kind of like defeated, or if they're in robot zombie mode, to just get through the day mode, right? Which he was. So the question I was saying was, because we were talking about, hey, do you want to come back to dodgeball one day? He's like, yeah, man, I miss dodgeball so much, but I have kids and I gotta watch them and stuff. Point number 1, right? So he is unable to do what he wants to do because of his familial commitments, right? Now, I've asked a lot of other people in this same paradigm of, are they kind of like happy? The answer is a universal, again, they're not going to admit it, but the answer is always a universal no. And the reason is because they didn't choose each other out of, at the beginning, let's say it was desire, but it was too financially, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's like you're together with a girl for 2 or 3 years and you envelop your finances with her. At a certain point, it becomes so financially unviable to split up that you stay together out of survival. And then I think both partners subconsciously know that they're not really there because they want to or they want to be. They're really just there because they have to be. Again, which is funny because people that have to be together was always the most successful way that marriage was done in human history, right? Arranged marriages, you have to be together. You have to marry the duke. You have to marry the blacksmith. You have to, right? Religion, same thing. You have to stay together or you're going to hell. Divorce is not okay. It's like every societal stigma is designed through human history, has designed two people to have to be together, right? And the current modern day version of that is just inflation and survival, right? Economic survival, I should say. Two people that have to be together because they can't survive on their own. And I think this is the one where you hear about all the sexless marriages. This is what you hear about. I've pissed my life away, midlife crisis. She wants a break to find herself after 10 years. All that kind of shit, right? And it's because on the other hand, it's like, okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing about this lower paradigm, right? These people, they're not thriving. They're not like, they've just like resigned. It's almost like they're soulless husks in a certain way, where like these two humans, it's almost like Maslow's hierarchy of needs to a certain degree. It's like the hierarchy of needs is like food and shelter or whatever, right? And then it's like, if that's the bottom layer, food and shelter, in order for these people, these like soulless bots, in order for them to achieve food and shelter, they have to combine with another bot who also needs food and shelter. And then when they actually combine with each other, that base need is satisfied. But then they can never really move up from there on the hierarchy of needs. And they just kind of stay there. So that's why you see just like, you ever see that thing on Twitter that was like, how do you enjoy going to Costco with your woman? And like 9 guys out of 10 are like fat and gross. And they're like, get me out of here, bro. Just kill me now kind of thing, right? So it's like, again, these people are together because they have to be. And the crazy thing about our society now is they call that a successful marriage. You know, arguably, I don't know. That depends on who you ask, right? If you ask, you know, society in general, nine couples out of 10 that are together because they have to be is a good thing to generate a new workforce every generation, right? Like the happiness of the couple isn't really important when it comes to the human species. Do you know what I'm saying? So as a human species, forcing people to be together and just procreate for survival has kind of been what's gotten us here today. Do you know what I'm saying? Only now in the most prosperous time of human history, are we allowed to be more selective of our partners, and the birth rates are going down, and we're going to collapse as a society, right? Because so we'll segue into the next paradigm now. Level 2 is like entering a marriage or a relationship with a specific goal in mind. Usually, it's almost like a business partnership or children, right? Those are kind of the only two reasons you would actually enter a relationship with another human and actually commit to them for a period of time, I want to say, right? Now, this was the paradigm that me and my ex-wife were kind of at. We kind of got together for the specific reason of having kids. And then she changed her mind later. That's a long story. But like, and then we were kind of like that one plus one. The last paradigm is like when both humans have all their needs met by themselves and they don't need anybody anymore. And they choose to be together because they just like each other. That's the last one. That's where I'm at. And I'll tell you the pros and cons in a second, but so me and my ex-wife, we initially got together at that one, where it's like we really just like each other. The topic of money and family and marriage never came up. None of that shit ever came up. And then the reason why I committed to her was that I just thought she would be a really good mom, right? She has a very motherly instinct. So if you see her with her cousins and stuff, she's just like would have been a fantastic mother, right? But anyway. So it's like our relationship started off as us enjoying each other's company, then like de-evolved into an objective. And then we went our separate ways. So the second one, two people getting together for an objective. This one seems to be, this is kind of the one that women try to push the most. And most of my cousins are in this paradigm. Like my first cousins, right? Like my dad's brothers. Like I grew up with these people, right? And they all hit kind of 30 years old. And actually, I talk to them all the time. It's hilarious. I'm talking about the females in my female cousins in particular. They all hit 30 years old, and they just found whatever guy they could. So my cousin's dating profile back in the day, not dating profile, but the first date, she told him, she's like, I want kids, and I want kids in the next year. And this was before all the red pill shit. So if a girl tells you that now, that's a huge red flag. But back then, that was quite normal, right? So oh God, dude, it's so fascinating. So she tells this poor guy on the first date, I want kids in the next year. If you're not serious about having kids, I don't want to date you. And the guy is he's a putz, let's be free. Like, the guy's a complete beta. He's like fat, lazy, useless, plays video games. He's like the worst man ever, right? But he's like, okay, right? And then they got together for an objective. Her objective, to have kids. And I guess he wanted kids as well, right? And they're still together today. And every time I see them at family gatherings, they're fucking miserable. They're absolutely miserable. The only couple out of my family, like I have a lot of cousins, like European problems, but like the only cousin that I know that's happily married is the one that got married at the top layer, where they were just together because they enjoyed each other's company. And They actually ended up having a family and kids and stuff, but I think that was like a byproduct. It wasn't like a goal of theirs. Almost like an accident. It was like an accidental family born out of two people that didn't need each other, but that just wanted to be together. And funny enough, their kids, their little boys, those kids are sharp, brother. That's a successful that's my idea of a successful family. I've seen one of those, right? Anyway, so now the second layer here of two people getting together for an objective, I kind of wish that, personally speaking, I wish that one would be more recognized by the law and by government, because I'm actually not too opposed to that one. It's like, so if your goal is to have children and raise them with somebody that you think would be a competent mother, and let's say you're in my situation where you're 40 years old and you don't really have a lot of time, same goes for women, you don't really have a lot of time to find a girl that you just want to be with and you just enjoy their company. Because when you get to my, we'll save this for another video, but when you get to my age, people are a lot more transactional with their time just in general. So just expecting a woman at 30 years old to just enjoy your company is very rare. It's very rare. They have an objective that they want out of you, right? You usually only meet the women that are like business women in their 40s that don't want kids and that they don't need anybody to be happy. But you also know there's no future with them either, so you try to target lower. It's weird. It's like this weird, like, gray zone for a 40-year-old man of, like, you get to, like, bang young chicks if you want to, but there's no one really to... You can't really meet somebody genuinely without them having a goal for you. Do you know what I'm saying? Without it being transactional. So it would be nice, because actually, let's say I have, like, let's say 4 female friends that I think would make good mothers, but they have a lot of, like, things about their, like, I don't like their families, or they have bad spending habits, or they're not good with, like, there's always just, like, something glaringly wrong, or they partied too much, just some shit like that, right? But I actually do think they would be good mothers, though. So it would be like, I would not be opposed to entering some kind of contractual agreement, being like, hey, we're gonna live together and have kids, and we'll raise them for 12 to 18 years. And after that, we have the choice to remain married, or we have the choice to split. And that way you actually have a functional family together. And you know what? I think you'd actually be happier that way too. Because if shit were to go south, you could just exit and not have any repercussions, right? So I would actually be okay with that. Now, the government wouldn't allow that shit. For some reason, the government thinks that it has to be all or nothing. Like, you're either single or you're permanently together. There's no, like, temporary marriage contracts. Now, these people at layer 2 that get together for an objective, they tend to stay together because the guy is too much of a bitch to admit he's unhappy, and the woman is too old now to go and sleep around and shit. So they just kind of like last together until the end, just miserable until the end. But they achieved their goal of family, right? That's layer 2. A lot of my IRL high school buddies are in that layer 2, right? And again, I think the way it currently is, that layer 2, it's not viable from a legal standpoint, but I do think it could be viable in the future as we evolve as a species and as a culture, right? Now, layer 3 is the layer I've been at for most of my life. It's a curse and a blessing at the same time. It was much more of a blessing when I was younger rather than now. Now I'm much more objective based. But it's like, I still will not talk to a woman unless she is genuinely just enjoying my company and doesn't ask me any questions that are leading towards an objective. Do you know what I'm saying? So I actually, funny enough, I actually tend to gravitate more towards older, successful women. And it's like, because they just don't want anything from me. And then I'm like, but I also want a family, so I'm being objective driven too. So I'm like, I would like a family, but I also because of my cousin, I want a family at layer 3 where two people met, they got together out of like genuine connection, and then they accidentally had a family. I want that one. I don't want, let's write down on a piece of paper what each other's needs and wants, and let us fulfill the needs and wants, right? It's like, man, I don't want to do that shit. Like, fuck, sucks. Because I don't have any good examples of that actually. I have a lot of examples of that being successful, where they're still together after 20 years, but I don't have any examples of them being happy. That's the thing. I don't want to just live my life day to day in the goal. So basically the bottom 2 layers, what they're doing is they're trapped in this familial goal. And when you have children, it's very difficult to get out of the 9-to-5 grind and the mousetrap, right? It's very difficult to break out of that because all your time is spent for the kids. So all these people are doing, they go to work, they come home, they take care of the kids, they go to sleep. And they do that for 18 years. They don't have any memories. They don't laugh. They don't know that, this is like a deep sentence I'm about to say, but they don't know that they exist. It's weird to say that, but they literally don't know that they have lives. They're just like, they've almost like desensitized their own needs so much down to a layer where it's like, just make it until the kid is 18. And then they just live day by day. I don't want that shit, man. Anyway, this is kind of a long video, but this is just an interesting thing that I've been thinking about for a while, where I truly only have like one example of a real happy, successful family. And for you younger guys out there, try your best to be financially self-sufficient, to get yourself out of layer 1. Do not date people out of a need for survival. Don't do that. You're not at the objective layer yet because you're not old enough. Date people because you enjoy their company. And in the back of your mind, be like, would this woman make a good mother? Would she make a good wife? And if one day you actually do want a family, I wouldn't hesitate to just pull the trigger on that one. Don't worry about the FOMO. You're gonna live your entire life just in perpetual FOMO of what if I didn't do that or what if I did do that. It doesn't matter. Like, no matter which decision you make, you're gonna FOMO that shit. But at least, if you enjoy the company of the person that you're with for multiple years and you still enjoy their company, that's good enough, man. Lock that part of your life down and move on to other shit. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, guys, we'll probably elaborate more on this one in a future video. Hit the subscribe button. Leave a comment down below if you agree or disagree with what I'm saying here. And I think we're back, baby. I'll see you in the next one. Talk to you later.